Patriarchal and Hebrew History. 20. From the death of Saul to the complete establishment of David's authority over the whole kingdom. 2 Samuel 1 through 7 and 1 Chronicles 40 11 through 17. AM 2948 to 2964. BCE 1056 to 1040. The character of David is one of the most remarkable even among the eminent men of the Bible. It was complex and in some respects contradictory. In the previous lessons, we have had an account of his youth and of his early manhood. During these years, he evinced great native abilities, as well as a simple faith and profound religious purpose. These qualities were greatly developed by the extraordinary experiences through which he passed in these early years. As we find him in the following lessons, he has several marked characteristics. He has, first, military genius of a high order. Out of a partially subdued and demoralized people, he organized forces which, under his general direction, not only made the nation independent, but brought most of the neighboring tribes under the wholesome fear, if not into subjugation. In the second place, he had great administrative abilities, a genius for government. This, with his military ability, rendered him, perhaps, the most powerful ruler of his age, and extended his empire far beyond the previous boundaries of the nation, and made other considerable nations tributary. Thirdly, he was a man of remarkable intellectual and poetic power. His writings are among the choice treasures of Hebrew literature, and even aside from their religious value, belong to the small class of writings destined to be valued in all ages. Fourthly, he was a man of not only lofty religious sentiments, but of profound and earnest piety. Fifthly, he was a man, nevertheless, of mighty passion and impulses, which, notwithstanding the restraints of his religion, now and then broke through their limits and carried him into grievous sins and acts fraught with peril to himself and his people. His remorse and contrition over these are indicated both in the narrative and in some of his psalms. And you find that some of the earlier versions of these stories didn't have these prophets do quite the number of things that were later said. So why did the rabbis writing the book, the Ha-Kohanim, why did they put that in? What was their purpose? Or if you're going to say they should have put it in, why was it left out in the earlier versions? David hears the report of the battle in which Saul and his sons were slain. Punishment of the man who assisted in Saul's death. 2 Samuel 1, verse 1 through 16. The lament for Saul and Jonathan. David's remarkable dirge. 17 through 27. The men of Judah anoint David as king at Hebron. His message to the men of Jabesh Gilead. 2, 1 through 7. Descent of the other tribes, and appointment of Ishbosheth as king, beginning of civil war 18 through 17, defeat and flight of the latter's army under Abner, and pursuit by Joab and Asahel, the latter slain, verse 18 through 23, end of the pursuit 24 through 32. Continuation of the war and David's success. David's family, chapter 3, 1 through 5, quarrel of Ishbosheth with Abner, and desertion of the latter, who negotiates with David to bring in the dissenting tribes, 6 through 12, conditions of the league, 13 through 16, progress of the negotiations, Abner's reception by David and his departure to effect the conciliation of his party, 17 through 21, indignation of Joab at the situation, Abner pursued, brought back, and treacherously slain, David's grief and imprecation on Joab, 22 through 39, murder of Ishbosheth, his slayers, thinking to be rewarded, are by David's order put to death, 4, 1 through 12, the kingdom united under David, 5, 1 through 5, conquest of Jerusalem completed, and it is made the capital of the kingdom, verse 6 through 9 of 5 there. 1 Chronicles 11, 1 through 8, also. David's mighty men and some of their exploits, 1 Chronicles 11, 9 through 47, and 2 Samuel 23, 8 through 39. David's prosperity, invasion by the Philistines, and the repulse, 2 Samuel 5, verse 10 through 25, removal of the ark, 6, 1 through 5, disaster and admonition, 6 through 9, the ark with Obed-Edom and the blessing to him, 10 through 10 and 11, its second removal and its arrival in Jerusalem, the joyful celebration, 12 through 19, 1 Chronicles 16, 1 through 3, appointments for religious service, 37 through 43, verses of what psalms are likely to have been composed for this occasion, 32, 68, and 24. There's actually a lot of psalms that didn't make the cut, and you kind of wonder if it was a prophetic book, then it wouldn't have been something that per se composed in that way. But they would have been revealed passages to address situations. But what passages in these obviously refer to this time? Give the grand refrain of the last 7 through 8. With what psalm does the song in 1 Chronicles 16 in part coincide? The king's purpose to build a temple unto the Lord. And a temple's like a, spiritual representation. Or a connection between heaven and earth, or these things. By Lord, they mean increasing existence, established. God is a noun and verb, but Lord is not a translation of the term Yahweh. 2 Samuel 7, 1 through 3. 1 Chronicles 17, 1 through 3. David forbidden to build, the privilege to be granted to his son, 4 through 17. What explicit reason is elsewhere given for this prohibition? 1 Kings 5, 3. 1 Chronicles 28, 3. David's response and thanksgiving. 2 Samuel 8, 18 through 29, final subjugation of the Philistines and conquest of the neighboring nations, David's brilliant success in war. 7, 1 through 15, chief officers of his government, verse 16 through 18, and we're closing just in time. Temples are often references to the whole cosmos. So, angels, devils, even if you don't worship either of them, elemental aspects, different qualities of God, different roles of the human being, because the mythology is about the people engaging the mythology.